What if you had everything you needed already? What would you do with your money? What would you do with your time? We're going to talk about it on today's episode. Listen, there's a lot to learn when growing and scaling your business.
That's why we created the Business Choreography podcast, where we talk about choreographing your marketing, operations, and sales into dynamic systems that increase your revenue and your impact.
We'll explore solid business principles and discuss all things that make businesses dance to success with clarity.
We'll help you figure out where the holes are in your business and what you can do to fix them. Think of us as your official business choreographers, aka your insider growth strategists.
Remember, your choreography matters. Welcome to the Business Choreography Podcast. Welcome back, guys. Thank you for joining me on today's episode. We are going to talk about what happened if you had everything. What would happen if you already bought all the toys that you needed? What if, that you wanted, I should say. What if you had met your expenses and you had more than enough to live on? What if you had already done that? You see, sometimes it's easy to get lost in the moment as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. It's easy to get lost in the trying to just get to that number, that one spot. And we sometimes forget to take a look ahead and say, what would I do with it? What would I do with it all? One of my favorite mentors once was on a podcast that I was listening to, just like this. And he said, wasn't feeling good, feeling a little depressed, feeling a little under the weather, burnt out, tired, already been down the road a couple of thousand times, didn't know if I wanted to do it anymore. Tell me if that resonates with any of you, right? You've been doing it, you're kind of stuck in the monotony. It's getting the job done, it's paying the bills, but just and maybe even taking care of all the needs that they had. Now, this particular mentor, he'd already attained everything he needed. He had the cars, he had the money, he had all that stuff. He just didn't need it anymore. So now he's got all this money and didn't know what to do with it. But he thought to himself, I'll go buy something on Amazon. How many of you have done that before? I'm not feeling great, a little depressed. I'm going to go buy something that I want, right? He got on Amazon, started scrolling through, looking for something. He's like, well, can't find anything there. So he got on eBay, started scrolling through, couldn't find anything there. And he ran into this interesting space. And the space was, I don't really want anything. So now what do I do with all the money? Now what do I do? Why am I working so hard for all of this stuff, for all the money? And this is huge. And so that leads me to this. The other night, it was my daughter's 18th birthday. I don't know how that happened. She's my oldest, just turned 18. And we were all out to dinner celebrating. And at the end of dinner, this topic came up. And I said, okay, guys, what if you had all the wants? The toys that you wanted, right? Toys mean a lot of different things for grown men. Sometimes it's a motorcycle and a Lamborghini, right? Sometimes the toys are a new computer. Sometimes they're big, expensive toys, right? Sometimes it's a boat or a wave runner. I don't know what it is that's your specific toy or type. Maybe for all you ladies out there, it's a new wardrobe or, whatever it is, the fancy luggage, the new diamond ring, whatever it is. What happens when you have all the toys? What happens when you have all the stuff you wanted and aspired for and you've worked for? Well, with a lot of entrepreneurs that aren't prepared for that, everything comes crashing down. Why? Because the mind will self-sabotage. It goes, well, if this isn't what's going to make me happy, maybe it was getting there that made me happy. So everything starts to fall to pieces. I've dealt with so many business owners and entrepreneurs that have been in that space, and it's not pretty because they don't know why. But what they're doing is they're just setting themselves up to be able to work and get back into that space where it was like they needed it. They had to have it. But what we're talking about now is that conversation I had at dinner with the family. And I said, hey, listen, what if you had it all? And now the money was still coming in, but you had everything you wanted. Now what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with that money? And it was really fun. I have 4 kids, and it was really fun to listen to what they would do next. In fact, as children oftentimes do, they surprised me with their answers. It was incredible what each of them was talking about and what they wanted to do and how they would influence the world in their own way, whether small or large. Each of them wanted to do something different. My youngest daughter was like, I'd make a movie. Wow, okay, cool. I mean, we all kind of opened our jaw and were like, what? That was what she thought would be fun and exciting to do when the money didn't matter. My son said, I want to be a public speaker. I want to go and help people change their lives. I want to be on stage and talk to thousands of people. And again, we dropped our jaw and went, what? What? Like, we didn't know that. And each of them had such unique answers. And that's just two of them. But what would you do? What would you do if the money was taken care of and you were well off and you knew the money was going to come in and you knew things were happening and that would secure the financial element of your life? What would you do? What would you do with the money? Some people go, I'd give it all away. Well, no, but that's not what you would do with the money. You would do it for something. You would have a cause. You would go towards some other grander purpose. What would that be for you? This is a big deal because as entrepreneurs, it can change overnight. And it doesn't mean you're an overnight success because I know all of you. You're just like me. Right? You're not an overnight success, and nor when your ship comes in, as they used to say, will I sit there and believe that you were an overnight success. I know that's probably not true. You have years of trying and years of tries and failures and misses over and over again. And then when it finally came in, people thought, oh, you're an overnight success, but that's not how it works. It's not how it works. We know that. And we know that as business owners. So what I'm asking you is when your ship comes in, because the only thing that can prevent that is if you stop or you quit, right? So when your ship comes in and the money's all there and it doesn't matter anymore, what are you going to do with it? What's next? What's that thing? And as you think about that and as you put that into perspective and as you clarify what that goal is, what that dream is, maybe we got to start to move that a little closer to front and center so that you can start to serve in a way that allows your mind to say, yeah, that's what I'm working for. That's what I'm pushing for. That's what I get up early for. That's what I stay up late for. That's what I pull all-nighters for, even though that's for the college kids, right? What's it for? Why are you actually out there? And that's a great way to think about it. It's a great way to go and start to define your greater purpose, your greater why. And I'd love to hear what yours is. I'd love to hear it in the comments. So wherever you're watching or listening to this, I'd love to hear what that greater purpose is, that greater goal when the money doesn't matter. What are you going to do with it? This is huge. One of my mentors through the years has always been the great Anthony Robbins. Love the guy. He's done so much for this world. But one of the things that is a greater cause for him, and I appreciate his cause so much, is the basket. I think it's Basket Brigade is what it's called. But they would feed families at Thanksgiving. And he upped it from one family, one Thanksgiving, to 10, to 100, to 1,000, to millions, to billions now. And he's grown that to something that feeds families on Thanksgiving specifically, and probably more than that. I don't know the full scope, but you can look it up, I'm sure. And how cool is that? How cool is that? What a cool thing to do. And a cool scenario to do to help in the way that maybe meant a lot to him because of his story and his circumstances and his journey that was meaningful for him. What's that for you? What's the meaningful thing that you can do when the money doesn't matter? Because we can start heading there now. You can start heading there now. We don't have to wait. We can do smaller versions. Remember, Tony started with one meal that he gave away at a Thanksgiving, and now he's to millions and millions. I think maybe billions. That's amazing. What an incredible feat that you are just as capable as him and you are just as resourceful. You're an entrepreneur. You're a business owner. You can be that resourceful. I know you can. Look at what you've created already. Look at what you are creating. Look at what you've gone through to get to this point. And like I said earlier, the only thing that can stop you is if you quit. If not, your success is inevitable. It is coming. I don't know how long it'll take. I don't know when it will happen, but it is going to come. That is a fact. I know that for sure. So just keep moving forward. You've got it. And start to think of that greater purpose, that greater why, and how come you would do this. Because when the toys don't matter, when the extra little wants are all fulfilled, what's going to keep the train moving? What's going to keep this ship plowing forward and making a difference? Like I said, leave yours in the comment below. Inspire some other people to think bigger. Put in the comments. I'd love to see it. I'd love to hear what you guys are up to. I'd love to know what was inspiring you to move forward. Let us know. I'd love to hear. All right, guys. That's it for today's episode. I hope that made a difference. If you know somebody that needs to hear that, share this episode with them, because I know there are a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners. Heck, even if you're not an entrepreneur, you might need to hear that. Maybe it'll make you head towards being an entrepreneur. Guys, thanks for joining us on the podcast. We appreciate you so much. And we'll see you next time on the next episode of Business Choreography. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us today.
Want more business choreography?
Check out our website at bizchoreo.com to find out more.
And find out how the choreography for your marketing, operations, and sales can raise your revenue and create more impact.
Remember, every business needs choreography.